Hello and welcome. This is Education Talk, and on this program we bring various solutions to all challenges faced by all stakeholders in education. I'm Wilma. You're very welcome today. Today, lots to talk about. We'll be talking about scholarships for children, the half-term, and also funding on education. And what does it take to be the best school teacher in the world? To discuss these various topics with me today is Dr. Christy Mafidon. He's a well-known guest on this program, and he's an advisor to government and monarchs. Dr. Christy, you're very welcome to this program.
Thanks for inviting me back.
Just one question. What does it take to be the father of the smartest family in the world, in Britain? Because a lot of people have described you as that, looking at the achievements of your kids.
I think I'll protest very vehemently about that, because really any single parent that is committed to the education of their children can easily surpass or in fact replicate what we've done before. So it's a matter of showing commitment very early in the development of the child, researching every available opportunity, and then implementing this to the strength of the student. Because once you know the strength of the student, then the student can excel in that area. But what most people do is they want the child to be good in every area at the same time, and that doesn't work.
So that is actually starting early and understanding the child. Absolutely.
And knowing that there is strength in every child, knowing there is a genius waiting to be explored or discovered in every child.
Not giving up on the child. Now, many parents have sent in questions asking, with the increase in tuition fees, how can I get a scholarship for my child? After all, a scholarship is free. Now, Dr. Chris, you say parents can get up to £120,000 worth of scholarships. How?
First, basic steps, and I'm happy that we are doing that Google Hangout in the weekend, so you can log in on Saturday evening. First, you must understand that you have to do your research. So the locality you live in will be having some will normally have some top schools. So you must do your research. Once you've done your research, you find out what they require. Some schools will require musicality. They want you to be able to play the piano at grade 4 or grade 5. Some schools will want sports. They want you to be able to do sport at county level. Some other schools will just want verbal reasoning, which is not taught in school. So you need to be able to get materials to expose your child to that. So once you've done the research, then you've identified the strength of your son or your daughter. When you're making an application, is from a position of strength, not that of weakness. So those are the 3 steps, if I'm going to pick it out. And then we can, we're going to expand more of this. What do I mean by research? How do you find out which is the top school in your area? There's a certain report that is published every year. We'll make that available to you, and it's freely available as an ebook with us. So anyone that subscribes to our website, we'll send you that. And then you are able to attend the open days for specific schools. There's the independent school show too that you need to be able to attend. So if you do the research and you take the very simple steps, you don't have to be an academic. You really don't have to be a teacher. In fact, most teachers are not trained to be able to go through the process of scholarship selection.
A lot of parents think that the process is actually very complex and consumes a lot of time.
Oh, no. I think if that's a myth, because with the use of the internet, all you need to do is do a few Google searches, or come to us. We'll show you the well-trodden path of being able to achieve, because there are musical scholarships that will be given to any boy that's age 9 this year. So the budget is already there. It just means who applies, and from the pool of the applicants, that's when they select. If you don't apply, you don't get selected. And
you said these scholarships are not usually exhausted every year.
No, they are undersubscribed, because most people are not aware of what they can do to apply. Others are not even aware that it even exists. So they just go for the local substitute. If you go for the local substitute, you've narrowed the options of the child, and that child is disabled. What you need to do is broaden your search, have a clear and open mind, and then do your research. What we'll be discussing on the weekend, when do you start your research? At what key stage do you start your research?
I was just about to ask you, how early should a parent start?
If you know that your child has shown interest in music, you should start researching 2 key stages ahead. So if you are in key stage 1, you should be researching key stage 3. should be finding out where will my son or daughter be doing Key Stage 3. So if you're in Key Stage 2, you should be researching Key Stage 4 and 5. So where would my son or daughter be doing that? So you now have a lead in terms of time to be able to prepare to get the training that you require or get the certificates that you require, because some students can already play at a very high level, for instance, playing the piano. Now, if you don't have the graded exams, your so-called ability to play is not really actualized. But once you've taken the graded exam, say, I'm a grade 6 player or grade 5 player, that tells so well in your interview, in your scholarship interview, that they'll look at you and say, oh, this is a recognizable currency of ability and skills. Some
parents may be wondering, is it already very late for me to apply for scholarship for my child?
Oh no, it's never late.
You
just have to be competitive, and you have to have a good guidance. I mean, if, like I said, if you can follow AI on social media and you are able to interact with them, they give you the deadlines, they give you what was required last year, they tell you what was the threshold, 2-3 years.
Scholarships are available at every level.
It's available at every level. You just need to apply, or you just need to be aware of it.
Let's talk about, when you talk about a musical scholarship or a sporting scholarship, does that mean that child has to go into school studying music?
No, it just means that that child has a talent in music. You can go in and study any of the subjects you want to. Your interest or bias can be law, your interest or bias can be medicine, engineering. What you are just saying that, look, I'm a choral scholar. That means I sing in the choir. I've identified what part I sing in the choir, whether it's alto, soprano, and also I'm loving biology. So I sing in the choir, and I'm very keen on physics or keen on mathematics. So your interest is totally different from the curriculum you're going to pursue. So you can be a choral scholar and end up being a top engineer. The two of them are not mutually exclusive. You don't have to study music.
So to parents, for more on scholarships, you can send emails to educationtalk@lawballtv.co.uk. And Dr. Chris, could you tell us some of the sources of this scholarship?
The open days is one sure way of finding out. The second one is on the website of the schools. You must visit the website of the school and know the right form to fill. Because if you are applying for a scholarship, you must fill the scholarship form. If you're applying for general admissions, then you fill the general admissions form. If you're applying for musical scholarship, there's an added form, or what they call a supplementary form, that you must fill and indicate which of the instruments you're good at, whether it's wind instrument or string instrument, or you're just coming for vocal. You must fill that on the form. If you don't fill that on the form, no one will know that you have the ability. And if they don't know you have the ability, no one will invite you for an interview. And then you'll allow people that are of less ability to get the scholarship that year. Why? Because you didn't indicate that the interest on your form.
So the scholarships are usually not made known. They actually check whatever you've indicated on your form.
That's
and
right.
they'll let you know if they have scholarships available or not, which they usually do.
They do. They do. There are endowments every year. There's over, this is no exaggeration, over $1 billion equivalent of scholarship available to students in the UK. It's an act of parliament. Every school has to make available what? Scholarships to students, so that they can demonstrate that they are charitable. If you don't show that you are charitable, you are in real serious trouble with the law. So Eton, Harrow, all the top schools in the country, leading schools, have to make it available. That's one thing most parents don't know, is a legal requirement for the schools to offer scholarships to you and children that are bright.
Let's go to the expertise of our teachers. The science teacher from North East England is among 10 finalists of a competition to find the world's best teacher. Richard Spencer from Middlesbrough College is the only one UK representative left in the Global Teacher Prize, with the winner to receive $1 million. He is up against teachers from countries including the US, India, Kenya and Afghanistan. Afghanistan, that's interesting. But let's know, what did Mr. Spencer do differently that other teachers aren't doing?
Fascinating that he was able to identify his groups of students year in, year out, and then came out with non-traditional and unorthodox way of teaching science. So it makes it very interesting to the students. For example, he comes up with games when there are some teachers that just follow the textbook, almost use the textbook as a script. He throws away the textbook. He looks at the students and he looks at the topic. He sees how he can connect the students to the topics so that the students engage with what is being taught. And the students appreciate what the consequences of having that knowledge will do to them in terms of professional development and in terms of life. So you are bringing the practical aspect of it and you are bringing the intellectual aspect of it.
And we've talked so much about what it means to actually teach in a different way, not with the normal textbooks, but in an unorthodox way, whereby you use games or real-life scenarios to demonstrate whatever you're teaching in the class to the students. We talked about that in the BET. That was held 2 weeks ago.
Yes, yes. Because the teacher ought to understand this. You see, you are there for the interest of your immediate audience. If you cannot connect with your audience, if your past experience and knowledge does not assist you in connecting with your audience, then what you are actually not good to the students. Because if you know photosynthesis and you cannot communicate it with the students, you cannot relate it to what they already know, then you will always lose them. And it's so painful that right now we are having the least number of students going to study sciences, especially physics, chemistry, biology at A level. The
question is, why can't these methods be deployed in all science schools in the country?
That's the reason why Mr. Spencer has been singled out, because they want him to be copied as a role model. Most teachers traditionally will want to cover what the syllabus says or cover what the curriculum says, the way the curriculum says it. They follow a particular prescribed textbook and follow the sequence of that textbook, irrespective of whether or not the students, that means the audience, his primary target, is following things the way the books are written. So, and that's the reason why I feel he should be really recognized and celebrated, because he is breaking down the barriers that has held students back in loving science. Because they are applying science every day. Everyone has a mobile phone or a cell phone. They know that without physics, you cannot have that device. We all have tablets. We know without physics, we can't have that. So teachers ought to wake up and connect the students to this body of knowledge and know that the students will realize later that they need it. They need it. You cannot live in this technological age without understanding of the fundamental science that is driving the technology.
And because of the way he communicates his subjects, the marks of the students have actually improved.
Yes, because if you're passionate about a subject, you find out that your grade will rise proportionally with your passion. If you are uninterested in the subject, you're just teaching it because you have to tick a box, then you find out that the students, only about a third of the class will be engaged. And out of that third, you will have about half of that passing the subject. So it's passion, it's a matter of awakening the interest of the students and making sure that they also know the long-term relevance of studying a particular subject.
Do you think he would win?
I hope he wins. If I had the votes, I will literally vote for him. And if you see the way he does his science, you know why I'm very keen. I'm biased to anyone that comes and makes it a game. Because if it makes it a game, the students will play it. And the more they play it, the more you understand the concept.
Even making it a game, we've had child prodigies on this program who passed maths at age 6 because they saw maths as a game.
That's right.
Not as a task.
That's a trick.
As a game.
That's a trick.
Yeah, that's the trick. Now, let's go to half terms. What are the new developments when it comes to half term, especially in state schools?
This has been coming up for a while. Most state schools follow the academic calendar prescribed by the Department for Education. But the public schools, independent schools, are flexible about it. So you'll find out that sometimes the state schools are still in full swing of things, and then the public schools have gone off. So they go off 1 week ahead, 1 full week ahead of students that are in the state sector. And then they come back the same time. Others will go off the same time as the state sector, but come back 1 full week after they've come back. So you find that some schools are having 2 weeks for their half term, and others are having 1 week for their half term. So if you're a parent, you need to be able to arrange that and work with that and exploit the long gap the 2 week break, and make sure that you are able to cover up more of the lag that the student may have experienced before the break took place. So if you know that your child was in school for the first half of term and struggled with a particular body of knowledge or subject, then you know that the break, having a 2 week break, is an opportunity for you to catch up, unlike somebody that just had only 1 week or 7 days.
Is there a webinar or a resource that parents can go to actually help them bridge the gap when it comes to the attainment of their children during the half-term break?
There are resources, and it's traditional, almost always oversubscribed. The half-term revision program by the Excellence in Education.
Having 100% success.
Yes, that's literally guaranteeing you 100% success. That means knowing everything that you ought to know for your age group 100%. So there are no deficits. You know every single thing that you need to know. And there's a methodology for going around that. You deliver the content in the way that the student prefers it. You don't deliver it in the way that the school prefers it. Because you are now looking at one person, the student. You're not looking at the teacher, you're looking at the learner. So if the learner is visual, you get all the materials out to the students visually. If the learner is auditory, you get all the materials in the auditory fashion. So it is very, very different. It's a customized content. And that's the reason why anyone that is involved in the program always comes up with success. Hence, success feeds success, and you have every year an oversubscription of the half-term program. Which
means it's possible for every child in a class to be above average.
Oh, without a doubt. It's possible for every child in any class to get 100% all the time. It's very possible. You just need to work out the formula. Remember, one formula that works for one set of children will not work for the other set of children. That's the trick. So you put them into their learning tribes. Say the visual learners are going to sit on this table, and we're going to give them objects. They're going to look at it. They're going to interact with them, and they're going to discuss it with themselves. And then you're going to have the auditory learners. They're going to sit on a different table. So you then find out that at the end of the class, every single child understands all the concepts that they were expected to know. The school system is literally impossible. One, the teachers are not trained in the use of these tools. Two, the culture of the school stifles such creativity and innovation.
Well, we're going to be having the posters now for the half-term success on the screen, but tell us, for parents who are wondering, you know, how can I enroll my child into the half-term classes? What do they need to do? Everything is done online, so you don't have to be on location. If you can go into the website www.excellenceineducation.org.uk, there's a screen that comes up, a capture page. Just put in your email address and your name. You have that as a subscription. If you click on login online, parents login, you are able to see materials. You're able to know what they were expected to do this academic year. You're supposed to know what they're expected to do this first half of the academic year. So the parents just need to keep a tab on their children's education. That's it. Yes, because you are the overall driver of their education. Remember, teachers come and go. One year will come and another year will go. But the one thing that stays with the child is the parent or the guardian. So as a guardian, you have to insist that what is required of the child is what the child really gets. And in most cases, with the methodology, students even move ahead of time, so they are able to do and accomplish tasks that are ahead of their age. And that's good, because it means when you get back to school, that knowledge is reinforced and the student maintains a lead position. Let's go to funding for education. Let's see what the Labour Party leader has said, and other party leaders as well. Well, Labour would increase spending on education by at least the rate of inflation, the leader Ed Miliband had said. The Labour leader made the announcement that the Department for Education's £58 billion budget will be protected during a speech at his old secondary school. Mr. Miliband also outlined plans to stop infant classes having more than 30 pupils in them for longer than a year. Now, will this plan limit class sizes? I hope it does, because one of the reasons why teachers don't give a lot of homework now to reinforce what they've taught in class is the marking. Now, if you have a class of 30 and you have one teacher, the burden is heavy. And in terms of close supervision, that is literally impossible. You cannot see what every child is doing if you're 1 to 30. But if you're able to reduce it to 1 to 20, and that's already available in the public sector, you are just playing catch-up, because the state sector is mass-producing in such a way that is almost compromising learning. That is defeating the essential object of schooling. If you can get the student-teacher ratio to be 1 to 20, we'll get dramatic increase in the supervision of the students. So the number of students that are left behind today that we cannot work with in school will also decrease. And then the output
will be radically different. So
getting the ratio to be 1 to 20 means we need more school places. Right now, the councils are complaining that they don't even have enough school places, especially for September.
They have to make sure that if we're just complaining for the sake of complaining, that's fine. But if we are complaining to boost productivity and the student is focused, is our focus, you're not in a system of school, because the system of schooling is to the benefit of the LEA, and the LEA wants to say we run an excellent school system. You cannot run an excellent school system with poor results. You cannot say that your entire system is very productive, and then you find 40% of our boys and girls failing their exams. So if we are really keen on bringing the best out of our students, we must be able to make the sacrifice and commit resources to making sure that these students, they have one stab at education, they get the best stab at education.
Well, the parents can't keep waiting for the government, so if their school they want their child to go to is oversubscribed, what should the parents do?
The parents can form groups together. Now their parents are setting up free schools. The government has come up with a policy where if you have interested parents, they can make an application to the Department for Education and be able to set up a new school, a brand new school from scratch.
But we need experience.
They do need a vision. They can employ people that can implement the vision. So you don't have to be an educationist. You have a vision that every single child that goes through your system will be able to achieve this particular results. Then you can hire people from any sector to come and assist in the developing your school. And what has been ignored for a long time is the churches and charitable organizations. I believe this is a wonderful opportunity for the church that already runs Sunday schools to extend that Sunday school to Monday schools, Tuesday schools, and Wednesday schools, and really run a mainstream school where we have children coming to the hall. Most hall churches are empty Monday through to Friday, especially in the mornings. Make that available to any group of people that are interested. 1. 2, the church can even take leadership, because most churches have in the article of memorandum, in terms of their charitable aims and objective, youth development. You can conveniently extend that vision and make it a realizable thing that you now have a church.
Just the way we have Church of England schools.
Yeah, and then you have a school. You have a church on Sunday, and then you have a school on Monday, and those children will be radically different from those that are not brought up in an environment and culture of high morality and God-fearing values.
Definitely, from statistics, the children who go to faith schools actually do better than those who don't.
Absolutely. That's been well documented. And so it's now up to the churches. No matter what the church size is, no matter your location, you can start a school, literally start a school, and then become the focus of the community. So the Muslims will send their children, the Hindus will send their children. You find out all faiths will send their children to your school, and that's more exposure of the gospel to the community and to the parents.
You said every child is a genius, and the Child Genius Competition is actually starting soon. Tell us more about this.
Every year, Channel 4 and Mensa come together and set up a series of questions and want to be able to get one child to compete against the other. And the beauty of it is that the child, for the first time, is taken out of the environment of their local school and put alongside with children from other schools to compete in spelling, to compete in memory, to compete in various aspects of learning. And it's beautiful. The wonderful thing is that you are now competing at a national level. And then at the end, you're given the cup of the champion of the year. You have a laptop, a top-range laptop worth about £4,000 or so, and the runners-up get given iPads and tablets. So it's very useful if you have a son or a daughter for you to put them in, provided they are younger than 12, I think.
Younger than 12.
Yes.
Tell us about last year's winner. What inspired her?
Oh, her faith really kept her going, and her faith inspired her. Both the winners and, in fact, the runners-up. Sharon, that eventually won I saw you took a picture with her. Yes. She was so focused. She knew what she was there for, and she understood what the basis of wisdom and knowledge and understanding was. So it's great exposure for anyone that wants their child to be used to competition, to get introduced to the act of winning and being able to pull back from a loss and then come back again and win. Because one of the stages, one of the key selections that Sharon was trailing. She was behind someone. And the way she came through fighting for her position and being able to defeat the eventual runners-up was wonderful. So
you said her faith. What's Sharon's faith?
Her Christian faith really helped her when the going became very tough. And at one time, in fact, the audience were really rooting for the person that came second. But you can see why your quiet confidence in God is able to take you through a very difficult situation. So if you're a parent out there, please make sure that you go to the website, register your son or your daughter. Don't assume that your son or daughter is not gifted. That's a wrong thing.
Is it open to every child? Does the child have to have some very high marks in school and high grades before they can actually go for the competition? Or is it open to just every child?
It's open to everybody that has access to a computer. You can go to the website now and log on. You fill in a few questions. They give you some teaser questions, and those are fairly straightforward. Some are logic-based, others are based on comprehension, others are based on your ability to spell and remember things. So please do not rule out yourself or rule out your son or rule out your daughter. Don't think because your son might not be so-called genius, quote, genius bracket, therefore I don't want to know. Go in there, and then you'll be given materials. That's one thing. The parents will benefit from interacting with other parents. You'll be able to network. You'll be able to understand the educational system at first hand from people that are from different sections of the country. So people coming all the way from Newcastle. So you meet, it's a wonderful forum, and I will not shy away. If I have any son or daughter that was 12 or lower, I'll put the child in.
Your children are older than that anyway. But what sort of materials are the parents going to be getting?
They are going to get emailed specific materials in terms of memory. They're going to give specific material in terms of logic. They're going to be given some material in terms of maths. So some of them are extracurricular. That means
so they're really going to be coached for the competition.
They are going to be given an idea of what areas that they're going to be assessing week in, week out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chris. We're running out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the program, and we look forward to having you again.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Viewers, this is Education Talk. If you have any questions, you can send emails to educationtalk@loveltv.co.uk, especially on scholarships if you're interested in your child having £120,000 worth of scholarships for this year. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of our programs.